Good afternoon and welcome. I would like to tell you about the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District's Green Infrastructure Partnership Opportunity Program. The MWRD is seeking to partner with local municipalities and public agencies to install green stormwater infrastructure to reduce the effects of flooding, and is currently accepting project applications through September 6, 2021. In this presentation, the MWRD's Green Infrastructure (GI) Partnership Program will be highlighted and explained in detail, along with tips on how to apply. Since 2017, the MWRD has solicited and evaluated GI project partnership opportunities through an annual application process to identify cost-effective public property GI projects to address flooding issues throughout Cook County. Now is the time to apply for the 2021 GI projects, with applications due September 6. My name is John Watson, a civil engineer at the Stormwater Green Infrastructure subsection of the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District of Greater Chicago. I will give an overview of GI partnership projects selected in previous years, how to apply, and some of the insights and lessons learned in identifying meaningful project partnership opportunities with local government organizations. Here's the agenda for my presentation. Today we will go over how to apply. I'll give a summary of previous GI partnerships. We'll go over the 2021 call for GI projects. We'll talk about eligibility and project prioritization and give some example GI projects. The call for green infrastructure projects is an opportunity for public entities within our 6 watersheds, shown on the right, to partner with MWRD to build projects utilizing green stormwater infrastructure. Projects should emphasize design retention capacity, areas of known flooding, and benefited structures. Public entities such as park districts, schools, and municipalities are then selected as partners to execute an intergovernmental agreement with MWRD to clarify our responsibilities. Applications were sent to municipalities and other public entities via email on June 10, 2021. Applications are due on or before September 6, 2021 at 11:59 p.m. The scrolling banner on MWRD's homepage, mwrd.org, includes a link to the GI Partnership Program webpage. The GI Program webpage, shown here, has complete and detailed information on the program as well as a link to apply. Directly, the URL is mwrd.org/green-infrastructure-0. Once you get to our program webpage, use the Click Here to Apply button. Shown here is the web-based application. You have the option of a downloadable PDF form or a web-based application form. The web-based application is preferred, but we will also accept the PDF form filled out and submitted via email, only in the fillable PDF format. Note that the web-based application does not allow you to save your work partway through filling it out, but if you download the PDF form, you can use that to draft your answers. The application is very similar to past years, with just a few exceptions, one of which is that if your project involves non-GI costs, such as street lighting, regular asphalt paving, etc., we ask that you provide a breakdown of the GI only and non-GI costs for the whole project. If you have any questions on the application, how to interpret a question, or anything else, please contact giapps@mwrd.org. Last year, 16 green stormwater infrastructure projects were selected to be part of our partnership program. You can see the emphasis on cost effectiveness, structures benefited from reduced flooding, and design retention capacity. which is a measure of the volume of stormwater held back from local flooding sources in extreme storms. Design retention capacity will be discussed later on in more detail. More information can be found at mwrd.org/services/green-infrastructure, including online and downloadable versions of MWRD's GI Partnership Opportunity Application form at mwrd.org/GI-APP. Eligibility requirements and submittal instructions are included in the application form and on the website. Here before you is a non-exhaustive summary of the eligibility requirements. The project must be located within district corporate limits, which for the most part is Cook County. If your project is close to the border, please check using the map link in the digital application. The project must be designed to manage stormwater measures using green infrastructure. 3. Projects must be bid in accordance with the District's Purchasing Act, including public bid, ad, and award, and also our labor and diversity requirements. 4. Applicant must be willing and capable of contract administration and maintenance long-term. 5. District will consider whether potential partner agency is in compliance with the Watershed Management Ordinance and the Inflow and Infiltration Control Program. 6. Project funding cannot be used to satisfy any federal, state, local, or other stormwater permitting requirements, including the WMO requirements for detention or volume control. There are a few exemptions from our Watershed Management Ordinance that you can see here. Development that incorporates in-kind replacement with green infrastructure may be considered non-qualified development. This means that GI development is not subject to detention requirements of the WMO. It is still considered development, but not part of the detention area. It is not applicable for volume control to meet the WMO's requirements. Please refer to wmo.mwrd.org for more information for the applicable requirements of the WMO. The next two slides explain the guidelines for if a MWRD permit is required through the Watershed Management Ordinance. Most of our projects do not. Please check our website for more details. Note that there is now a question on the application that asks you to confirm if a WMO permit or any other state local stormwater regulations may apply to your project. I will give you some time to read through these. Here's the second page. For questions regarding WMO permit applicability, please contact Lolita Thompson, lolita.thompson@mwrd.org. Any partnership will require an intergovernmental agreement, or IGA. The applicant must be a public entity with the improved property to be within our boundaries. There are diversity requirements for most of the projects. We also have a public education requirement and a long-term operations and maintenance, or O&M plan requirement for all of our projects. Note that the diversity requirements are based on our contributions only, not the entire project budget. For more information on typical IGA requirements, see mwrd.org/GI-APP. So how do we select the projects? Here are our primary selection criteria. Dollars per gallon used in determining the MWRD funding. These are the dollars that you're requesting from us used in this dollars per gallon, not total project dollars. The dollars per structure benefited by the project. The project time frame. Can this project be constructed within a calendar year of selection? Other factors include flooding frequency and severity, combined sewer areas, or separate sewer area, with a slight advantage going to combined sewer areas. The total cost of the project, median income of the area, maintenance resources, expertise, and experience, visibility and educational opportunities. Is a recipient a past recipient of recent MWRD funding for similar projects? Cost-sharing agreements are available for public entities with local matching arrangements. Applicants are encouraged to request MWRD funding needed to implement the project, with our contribution per project since 2018 ranging from $20,000 to $650,000, with an average of just over $283,000, depending on the individual project's benefits, the number of overall projects submitted, and our annual funding allocation for the program. We are looking for partnerships that have community support and ask that the applicants indicate their level of investment in the project. We will entertain and evaluate matches from 10% to 90%, but on average, most projects are around a 50-50 split, subject to many of the criteria as expressed in the selection criteria discussed previously. One of our main metrics to determine if the project is cost-effective is a calculation of the design retention capacity, or DRC. This goes into the gallons calculation in the first criteria above. Design retention capacity is the maximum amount of stormwater captured from a storm, rather than drained into the local sewer system. A spreadsheet and diagram that you can use to calculate DRC is included on our website, and this will also be further discussed later on in the presentation. The MWRD is involved with approximately 100 green infrastructure past and current projects. Here are a few of our previous projects. One of our very first projects involved the installation of rain gardens and permeable pavement in the city of Blue Island. This location is a bowl-shaped depression at the bottom of a big hill, with a railroad embankment on the other end, giving the rainwater runoff coming down the hill no other place to drain. More simply put, this area is highly prone to flooding. Therefore, we installed large and deep bioswales and permeable pavement areas, some upstream to catch the runoff before it went down the hill, and others downstream to make sure that they were always fully utilized. Here is one a few years after installation, with the plants fully established. Please notice the size of the bioswale, the robust native plants, and the wide curb cuts that will take extra water from the street. The bioswales, together with 2 permeable parking areas, are able to hold over 150,000 gallons of design retention capacity back from the local combined sewer system. A more recent project was a parking lot and bioretention area in the village of Riverside. This project has a DRC of over 252,000 gallons and has a monitoring well to ensure that the area is draining properly. Notice the attractive and informational sign explaining the purpose and function of the permeable brick pavers and bioretention area in this project. The next project was a bioswale and permeable parking lot installation at the Evanston Civic Center. The old parking lot would flood and contribute rainwater that went inside the building during heavy rains. Instead, the new rain gardens, bioswales, and 3 types of permeable pavement catch the rainfall and slowly infiltrate it into the surrounding soil. Another recent project was the installation of green alleys in the city of Berwyn. Here's the project during construction and after construction. Please notice that the alleys are sloped to drain water to the center, where a permeable paver strip lets stormwater drain into the ground. We now use a larger permeable strip to resist clogging. This project delivered almost 680,000 gallons of DRC. Here are a few example designs of green infrastructure components. These standard details are freely available at MWRD.org/WMO. The first is for a bioswale or rain garden. An area is dug out, stone and highly permeable engineered soil fill in the depression, and then water-absorbing plants and mulch finish the installation on top. Note that there is still a depression on the surface to hold back the water until it soaks down below, shown here. Note also the geotextile fabric to separate open voids in the gravel from the surrounding soil. Geotextile fabric goes along the edge and the top and the edge of this open graded aggregate here. If there is room available, another option is to spread the rain garden out over a larger area and exclude the gravel layer and geotextile fabric, allowing the roots to penetrate into the underlying soil. Here's the detail for permeable pavement. The general principle is actually similar to the rain garden, although there is no engineered soil and generally no water stored on the surface. Please note that the elevation of the underdrain, shown here, is important in determining the design retention capacity with the table below. The higher the underdrain, the more volume is counted. Design retention capacity is a measure of the volume of stormwater that is permanently retained on site and therefore does not lead to local sewer systems or waterways. To calculate this consistently, we have created a DRC spreadsheet available for download on our website that will walk you through this process. The input cells are shaded in yellow and the output in green. Please remember to include the references for where you are getting the information from. Each variable is described verbally in the calculator, and also graphically using drawings in the same Excel calculator file. You have the variables here and the depths that they represent. Whether you have applied in the past or it is your first time, we encourage you to apply to our Green Infrastructure Project Opportunity Program. Applications are due on or before Monday, September 6th. So now is the time to think about where it floods in your community, put together your partnerships, draft plans, volumes, and cost estimates. The application and more assistance can be found on our website, MWRD.org/GIAPP. We will also be glad to answer any questions that you might have. Please email giapps@mwrd.org. We are excited to see what projects are submitted.